gang, gang. Hey, nothing but love and respect. You might have some cool fans, but mine are the best. We've been through it all, went to war when duty called. Never left a man behind, we move as one is super strong. I don't want followers, that implies I'm the leader. I'm not the captain, I just gave them something they can believe in. I hold the lamp in the darkness, but they're the light that I needed to see the road that we walk in between the angels and demons. And my fans have my back. Hate us if your feelings don't like facts. And my fans will fight back. Beat you with the keyboard you've been using to write back. I guess we need each other like both sides of the battery. We the army, we the homies, we the gang, we the cavalry. We're brothers and sisters, we hold it down like we gravity. Can't nobody break the bond that made us all family.
Me and my fans, we don't care what anybody say. Middle fingers to whoever in the way, man. Me and my fans, we gon' be together to the grave. It's the game till forever and a day, man. Me and my fans, we don't even trip in the hate. We got all in our veins, man. Me and my fans,
We the hangover gang. Gang, 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 gang.
Oklahoma weather can dish out some of the worst punishment in the world. Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Tuttle. But now you can fight back by installing Class 4 impact-resistant shingles from Ferguson Roof Systems. These shingles can withstand large hail, heavy rain, and hurricane-force winds, all while keeping your home safe and dry. And the best part? This upgrade is completely free for many homeowners. So call today to start reaping the benefits these Class 4 shingles bring, including a discount on home insurance. Only at FergusonRoofSystems.com.
Hey everyone, meteorologist Tuttle back with you again. It is time to talk about the weather. So thanks for joining me. It's been an active day today, to say the least. I hope everybody is safe and sound at home. Hope you're warm in your pajamas, and I hope you're not watching me on generator power. How about that? So thanks for coming in. We're going to talk about the latest, what's happening out there currently across Oklahoma and also down into North Texas. We're going to find out if there's any more of this freezing rain, sleet, and snow to come, or if it's all about to wrap up and we're not going to see much more of anything else. So we'll take a look at the latest data and look at the conditions around the state and all that. So here's a look again at the Facebook link. If you're having trouble getting notified when I do go live, I'll send you a direct instant message from your Facebook Messenger. If you want that, click that link. Several hundred of you have done so. The other few thousand of you, I guess Facebook's playing nice and letting you know whenever I do go live. Twitter or YouTube, thanks again also for checking in here for tonight and leaving your comments. I appreciate that. And having some discussions amongst yourselves. Go right ahead. Jody always helps me out. She moderates so she can help pass along some information as needed. And as always, you guys on Facebook with your stars, I appreciate those. So appreciate the gift. All right. So with all that said and done, let's get on with the show. Okay. So out there currently, it is still snowing to beat the band. I've got heavy snow coming down. I did measure in my backyard. It was hard because it's a lot of drifting, right? So it's going to be hard to get an exact measurement. I tried to pick a spot that wasn't much drift, and it was 3 inches of snow. That's not bad here. I'm in southwest Edmond, and I've still obviously got some heavy snow to go, so that will add in. I'm looking for another couple of inches at least overnight tonight. So before all is said and done through tomorrow here in my house, I should be able to measure about 6 inches of snow in areas that are not drifts. In areas that are drifts, they're probably up to about a foot. Now here's a look at temperatures out here in my backyard. We're at 16.5 degrees on my Tempest weather station, so that is just a cold night. All right, so how close were we to seeing sleet instead of snow here in Oklahoma City metro area? Well, the evening sounding at 6 o'clock, I mentioned that pretty much everything in the metro should be changing over from sleet to snow. Boy, did it barely make it. This little line right here, I'm going to put on here, the dashed line. This is the 0 degree Celsius line going up in the atmosphere. So as long as this profile you see here is left line, that means below freezing, that means it's all snow. And let me tell you, it rode that line. You couldn't ride that line any closer if you wanted to. So thank goodness it transferred over to snow. Otherwise, we had a lot of sleet here instead. Here in the greater Oklahoma City metro area. So that is what has happened. And of course, the watches and warnings go all the way down to South Texas, New Mexico, back up into Kansas, all the way to the Northeast and to Maine. This is one heck of a winter storm. If we take a look at the mesoscale discussions, there's actually discussions for heavy snow, heavy freezing rain, heavy sleet in both Oklahoma and in Texas because things are not winding down, as you can imagine. Temperatures out there across the state, we are into the teens here in the body of Oklahoma. We've got some 20s down here, east and southeast of the I-44 corridor. Then that does gradually moderate onto the lower 30s. This little yellow line is the freezing line, so just about the entire state is below freezing. Panhandle, of course, is into the single digits, but hey, they always like to go into the single digits. When you factor in the wind, and the wind is gusting out there, wind chill values drop off into the teens in the Panhandle, near zero or even below zero in many other areas of the state, and that is thanks to the wind gusts that are out there around, you guessed it, about 30. Either this is an error or they had a really big wind gust here in southwest Oklahoma. I'm going to go with the error, but that's pretty impressive. But they have had wind gusts in the mid-30s down here for sure. 20s elsewhere over the state. So it's going to stay windy here for tonight. So that means blowing snow. So visibility's quite low as you travel out there across the state. All right, so now let's take a look at the state in general. So what we have is the body of the snow continues right here along the I-44 corridor back here into southwest Oklahoma. Here, this little blue shading coming up to north of Fort Smith, northwest Arkansas, and Missouri. So this is your snow band that will continue. Your freezing rain mixed with sleet currently is kind of in this area, and that will continue. And then this little band right here, it will eventually get down cold enough to get freezing rain as well as we head into the overnight hours. So those are how the things are setting up. And if I were to put this in motion, you can watch how our temperatures will cool down a little bit as it animates, but you're going to see how the track of the precipitation continues kind of on a southwest and northeastern fashion. Now, Oklahoma, in northeastern Oklahoma, in Tulsa, you guys had lots of snow in the northwest and north side of town. South side of town, though, you had a lot of sleet mixed in, little ice pellets, and every now and then you still get a few reports of those. But at least your snowfall amounts are coming up. I've seen 2 to 3 inches now being reported in that area. And the ice pellets and the freezing rain continues to progress farther now to the south from Muskogee on down to McAllister, where most of the freezing rain is, as the radar changes color for you into the pink and orange. That's the mixture of the freezing rain and the sleet. So you can see here in central Oklahoma, for a while there, we had quite a bit of sleet kind of hanging in close around the Norman area. That kind of finally moved off to the south, and we've got a lot more snow now in its wake. And you can see here the back edge of this, or the good stuff, is just hanging on here into the metro. You go too far west and it starts to dry a little bit here in the western sides of town. So we still have more snow to go. This little round right here will continue to work its way into this region. So if your snow drops off a little bit more, there is hope you'll get a little bit more. That'll work on end. And snowfall total is up around 3 inches here in Oklahoma City. Like I said, about 3 inches in my yard. A little lighter on the south side because you had to mix more of that sleet with it. But you'll get more snow as we go through time here this evening. This activity continues all the way down south on into Ardmore, where it changes back over to the sleet and freezing rain. From there on into North Texas, and right about 6:30 or 7 o'clock, those temperatures in the north sides of DFW started to fall to freezing. And so from that point forward, they've been slowly dropping each hour, and that freezing rain continues to head down to that area. So this is the nightmare that you never want to be in. So I wouldn't even want to be in Dallas-Fort Worth right now, having to get out on those roads, as you know as well as I do. They're bad enough on a dry day, much less when they're all coated in ice. So a big ice storm ongoing right now for North Texas, and that's going to continue overnight tonight with no relief in sight until eventually some snow will work in. That extends all the way down south. Look at this, down to San Angelo, Big Lake. And then if you look down here to Austin, temperatures down here are still into the 30s, so they have not hit the freezing point yet. But as we head into late tonight into tomorrow, that will be the case for the morning hours. Now, back home in central Oklahoma, I want to show you something kind of neat here. This is the dual pole radar output. Oh, there's a new 4-inch mark right there. It just came in. And then here's 3 inches around Guthrie. So these are a couple of new reports coming in for snow totals. Now, again, your result may vary. But what happens is we can look at the cross correlation coefficient. And the reason we do that is because it's a phase change of the precipitation. And we can see where it's getting sleet mixed in. And that's where you have this little light yellow line right here. Now, ironically, it had shoved southward over the last few hours this afternoon or early evening, but then the last couple of hours is drifting back to the north. So this is the sleet line right here. So if you live along this line, you're going to get sleet mixed in with your snow, and that will help to reduce your snow totals because you're wasting that good snow on those little balls of ice. So that sleet will continue down all into this area here, and then eventually it turns back over into freezing rain once you get a little bit more south of this zone. But you can see that here with these little IP stands for ice pellets, in other words sleet, down in this region. So kind of an interesting little phenomenon that we can see with the radar, which is kind of cool. So we can monitor the phase change of precipitation in the wintertime. And you know, dual pole technology, even though it was kind of invented in the mid-90s, it didn't really take hold in practical use and installation really until about the last 10 years. And even then, what we've been able to get out of it just continues to just increase. So it's really, really great stuff. But anyway, there's some snow here reported in Norman around 3 inches, and in Moore we've got 4 inches. Earlier up here, like I mentioned, I think Guthrie had 3 inches, and I had 3 inches as well. So far, 3 to 4 inches here across the Oklahoma City metro is what seems to be the average, and the event is not even over. All right, so let's go back to the maps, and let's talk about it, shall we? Now, we call it the high-resolution ensemble runs, okay? And this black line is the average of that. Now, this black line, it's about 7 inches of snow. This silly model thinks that we have 7 inches of snow to add since this afternoon around 4. And I think that's the total. So in other words, you have to go back in time for this thing to start. So it's not like you get 7 new starting now. It's 7 for the whole thing. But still, 7 inches of snow, man, that's crazy. So and there's higher amounts, obviously, up to around 10 inches, and there's lower amounts around 3 inches. Well, clearly that's not going to verify the low end. I don't know, will it verify on the high end? Probably not. I like the 7-inch total for a max here. We do look at the satellite viewpoint. There's a couple things of interest here. This is the water vapor channel. So our upper level disturbance is right about here. So this is the broad trough axis that we've been watching that was dipping down and then pumping in all that Pacific moisture right overhead, right over the cold air in place, the classic overrunning situation. Now you will notice right here, these little green areas. So this is a very strong wave that is currently moving through. Now you don't have any huge enhancement yet back to the west, but this enhancement here shows there's a lot more to come. So in other words, this little secondary wave actually may not quite disappoint like I thought it would. In the water vapor channel, it says, keep hope alive, Aaron. It says, don't worry, you might get more than just another inch or two of snow on top of that. Well, here's a look at the high-resolution short-term model for the lift in the atmosphere, which we're really going to help to squeeze out that precipitation. The evening shot shows all that bright color moving through Oklahoma and North Texas here over the current time frame on into the evening. And then that kind of shoves off into southeast Oklahoma, northeast Texas overnight tonight. There's another little round pushing through in the morning, and then another round here again in the morning. So there's just little waves that come through, and there's more color you see out in the map to the west that also comes through during the day tomorrow. All that will be squeezing out additional snow. Still looking for that dry slot that I heard rumors abound, that it was just going to come in and hose us and just kill our snow totals here in the metro. I have yet to ever see that dry slot. I've been looking for it for days. Take a look here at the 500 millibar level for the moisture. I still don't see it coming in Oklahoma until right here. Well, this is tomorrow morning. In the mid-morning hours, it's a short-moving little wave that comes through that moves off to the east with a backside of more wraparound here. And depending on which model we look at is where the exact placement of this little deal will be on Thursday. But we talked about it. Today was the bigger of the two waves, so that's not necessarily any big news. All right, so now let's go on into how things will continue to play out here for tonight. I'll do the big picture first, and then we're going to zoom in to Oklahoma so I can get everybody here over the southern plain states. So through time here, let's start you off about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock here tonight. Purple, that's the heavy sleet. The pink is the freezing rain. Models will have a tough time going back and forth in the mixing zone here, so just call this freezing rain down here in Dallas. Although I have seen a few reports of sleet mixed in the freezing rain, but it's going to be primarily freezing rain. As we head into the midnight hour, very heavy snow on the north end of where this sleet band is, because you're closer to the instability. You can see the fine line out here just west of the Oklahoma City metro area where things do quiet down into northwest Oklahoma and northeast Oklahoma to Missouri, still getting plenty of action. Arkansas getting slammed with some ice overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, and all the way down to now to central Texas getting all that ice as we head into daybreak tomorrow. So here is the 5, 6, 7 o'clock hour, and we finally start to get this ice out of Dallas, and you start to transition it over to snow moving in, which they'll pick up probably a couple of inches of snow on top of very significant ice. We're probably looking at about a half inch of pure freezing rain accumulation, plus probably another quarter inch of sleet on top of that. So like I said, you don't get much worse in a big city like that. All right, so that will continue through the morning hours. So here's kind of starting to wrap up here in Oklahoma City. Remember that little bit of that dry air that moved in temporarily, but then if you look out to the west, as the main upper low kicks through, it replaces it with more light snow that moves through midday. This is lunchtime tomorrow. That snow will transverse the state, and you see things quieting down for Texas. We get the extra benefit of the snow. It's a small region, but that's where the upper level low, what's left of it, is coming across right over Oklahoma. So additional good snows for Oklahoma City and Tulsa as that moves on by. And then that will be the end of this prolonged storm system. All right, here's a close-up view. And let's take in here step by step as well. So again, here's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11. I'm just going to step you through each hour. Wherever you live close to your city, just pay attention to see what colors you are under to see if you're going to get any more of that precipitation. Here's 2 o'clock in the morning. There's that southeast Oklahoma getting slammed with ice and more freezing rain. So some significant accumulations, a half inch or more in that area. There's how things kind of wind down from just west of Tulsa to east of Oklahoma City by 6 o'clock in the morning as this first wave starts to kind of move away. But then it's quickly replaced with that secondary wave that comes in. Here's lunchtime. And then as we head into 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4, light snow throughout the day here across central and eastern Oklahoma. And then by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at midnight, it is finally wrapping up and moving out of the state. And good riddance to this one. That's the timeline here and the amount. So ice accumulations, we're looking at, the models will vary. I like the European overall for the overall look. But it's got pockets here of half an inch to 3/4 over central Arkansas, up to maybe an inch of ice accumulations from there. Same kind of deal here in parts of southeastern Oklahoma. So this is where all your power outages is going to be. So basically, you just call this map a power outage map, all right? And of course, Texas, they have their own problem with the power grid as it is, with the demand on the energy for the cold spell, plus in addition to the ice accumulations and any wind. And then this will continue on here to most of Arkansas, points eastward from here, and then to southeast Oklahoma. So that, my friends, is where all the power companies will be here in our region of the country, will be sending out crews to deal with power concerns. And of course, this continues all the way up the chain to the northeast. So it is not just here as a local event. Let's see, let's move on to, the snowfall. I'll show you just kind of a swath of models just to show you that they all were pretty similar in the output as far as the placement is concerned. They'll vary a little bit on the amounts, and some of them kind of went on the high side for this whole system. Like there is a Canadian there. You can see some excessive amounts from 7 to 8 inches of snow predicted. There's a NAM, which is a little bit more conservative for some areas of the state. The high-resolution HRR model was a little too excited. It measures, looks like it contaminates the sleet with the snow, so it can be thrown out to lunch. The American model got a little excited with this system as well, and even the European, the last minute, the run today, got a little excited, producing as much as 10 inches of snow here in Oklahoma City. Now, for this to happen, there's going to have to be a lot of snow overnight tonight into tomorrow. Just saying, that's the only way this is going to verify. And normally, I'm a European guy. I go with the European. I just have a hard time buying that. The Icon model we looked at earlier today, it's got 4 to 6 inches here in the metro area of central Oklahoma, so not a bad call there on into the north and east. So that is a look at pretty much the model spread, and so when you kind of add those all together, additional snow You can look at this as additional snow in most cases here of 5 inches to 6 inches over central to northeast Oklahoma. There might be an outlier here of some higher amounts. Crazier things can happen, but this is how it looks with additional snow from about the 6 o'clock window this evening onward. So this includes the other inch or two that we've already had. So that means in this case, maybe we're looking at additional 3 inches here in Oklahoma City overnight tonight. So that put us at 6 inches of snow, for example, for tomorrow morning, or even 7, or for tomorrow afternoon before all is said and done. So that seems like a pretty logical place to be. Oh, let me see what else do I want to show you. Oh, we're going to do temperatures here. And also, what else did I want to show you? Did I want to do this? I'll do that in a minute. All right, so let's just go ahead and do temperatures. We've got it into the teens, of course, right now, 9 to 10 o'clock. So we'll continue to drop these numbers down a little bit as we get into the overnight hours toward daybreak. Here's 7 o'clock in the morning. We're at 11 degrees here in Oklahoma City. In the single digits out west. As we head into the afternoon, we're still into the teens. So it's going to be a brutal day for your Thursday. So again, if you're stuck anywhere outdoors, in your car, etc., you are in trouble when it comes to the weather, folks. Can't stress that enough. As we head into Friday morning, we are also still into the teens and single digits. And then we'll warm you, if we're lucky, into the upper 20s. And that's probably going to be about it. Like I mentioned, we've got wind gusts overnight tonight. Into the day tomorrow. Winds can be in excess of 30 miles per hour at times. You can see all the red colors pretty much in any city overnight tonight and during the day tomorrow. That wind will continue through Thursday evening and then into Friday morning, dying down in southeast Oklahoma. So that means any ice accumulations down here in southeast Oklahoma will be affected much more so by those strong winds. And of course, with the winds comes the wind chill values, which is what it feels like to your naked skin if you were just to run out there and just free will it. 10 o'clock wind chill values in the single digits to below 0 once you get into the purple shading overnight tonight. So for our Thursday, we're looking at wind chill values well below 0 in the morning. And as we head into the afternoon, we really don't improve a whole lot. Wind chill values there in the single digits in some places, otherwise below 0 in others. And then we kind of repeat the scenarios we head into Friday morning. Wind chill values again kind of sporadic everywhere. All right, so the winter storm impact continues to kind of get moved around as new data comes in, highlights different areas. So for the ice, the Weather Service likes this region down here for a significant major impact and an extreme impact here in eastern Arkansas. Regardless, the same outcome. We're talking about power outages and disruption to daily life and a threat of life as well. Snowfall amounts that we talked about from this point, really in the storm, it was a widespread 4 to 6 was the forecast, and I like that. I don't see any reason really to change that. Somebody here in Oklahoma City may get a little bit more. And ice down here in southeast Oklahoma, still up to around 1/2 inch in those areas. Tulsa had some graphics earlier. Let's see, are they back? Yeah, they are. Let's see, they had as much as 6 to 8 inches of snow in parts of northeast Oklahoma, and their big ice accumulations occurred down here in southern Oklahoma with a 1/2 inch to maybe as much as 3/4 in some isolated regions. Temperatures are obviously going to be cold. We're looking at the teens tomorrow. I don't know. I don't think we'll hit 30 on Friday. I think we'll be in the upper 20s, just a couple degree difference. And on Saturday, I don't think we're going to get above freezing. We may get to 30 or so, but we'll see. Otherwise, after that, with everything melting quickly, we should get temperatures to rebound and become pretty decent. All right, last before I leave you here, road conditions on my website. Go to AaronTuttleWeather.com, click the Weather Data tab. You can do this on my weather app, AT's Weather to Go, or you can just go on your computer and do it, or open up a browser on your mobile device and hit Oklahoma power outages and Oklahoma road conditions. Right now, we're on Oklahoma road conditions. It shows you the snow route here for Oklahoma City, if you wanted to click on that. And it also shows you the statewide view of how things are going, whether or not they're closed, they're open, delay, severe, all that kind of stuff. So just hit the legend on the map for that. And you can click on any of these cameras to see what it looks like in real time. That way you can tell exactly how the road looks. You can see how traffic is moving along, if it's moving at all. For example, here's another view from Oklahoma Transportation Network. We can zoom in on this photo. You can see movement very slow on snow-covered roads. You can find this on my website. You can check out any of these roads across all of the state to find out if wherever you need to go is either impassable, slow, or improving as we go through the next couple of days. All right, so let's see. I think that was the most of that. Did I want to say anything else? I really did. I think that pretty much covers it all. I mean, I could always keep looking at data, but what's the point, right? You've seen it, I've seen it. This is all old news by now. All right, let me look at a couple of your comments, and let's see, we'll go from there. All right, let me scan you guys on YouTube real quick. By the way, thanks again for checking in. Nancy's got 36 degrees in Valant. Valiant. Let's see, let's go to Samuel wants to know what the snow ratios are today. They were predicted to be your typical classic, about 10 to 1. Let's see. So, yep, we've got some power company stage down in your area. Let's see. Samuel says the GFS model came out and it's just dumping more snow. So, how about that? We can take a look at that here in a second and just see what that model has to say at this point in time. Looks like some of you are joining in late, which means you have missed everything. How you guys can join in 25 minutes after the fact? Where have y'all been? Seriously, if you're just now getting notified, you got problems. You need to sign up to get my direct link because Facebook's not being nice to you because you should have been here a long time ago. But I'm going to do a little recap here. We'll look at that. Matt, that was Tom McDonald, by the way, from our opening. So Tom's a man. He reminds me of me. We're both trailblazers for different reasons that we did it on our own. He did it without the music industry, so independent artist, and I'm doing this as a pioneer independent meteorologist. And I built this whole TV set. I put a post on my Facebook wall. Some of you didn't get it, you didn't understand it, but it's kind of like a meme that goes around. And it says basically how it started and how it's going. And typically it's ripping on somebody, or somebody who's hypocritical. But sometimes it can be other progression, right? So mine was a progression photo of kind of where I started with live broadcast and how the look changed from that to this and how I've just kind of continued to improve things. No one's ever done what I've done before, and so it's interesting. But I always got to, think outside the box and think about what's next. Change it up. So I'm always got to think ahead. It's a crazy place to be, but it's fun. All right, let's go to the GFS. Right? Is that what the whole deal was? So let's pull that up. All right. Let's see here. I don't expect anything crazy as far as the timing or position or anything like that. Let's see. There's 6 a.m. It's already got it all out of here. Then the next wave comes in. There's 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, midnight. So exact same. It's no different than the other model. The only question is how will it do on the amounts? So we can go take a look at that. So just curious here on the ice first. And it's still holding strong. There's a little pocket that all the models love here, just northeast of Dallas. It just gets hammered with an inch of ice. And that continues up to half an inch or more from Paris to southeast Oklahoma. So that's nothing new. That's the same as all the others. What does it do for snow? All right, so this is interesting. All right, at least it has the amount of snow that's already transpired in its data before it adds more to it. So it has 2 inches of snow already here. This is at model time, which was technically at 6 o'clock is when all that really stuff is, where the data comes trickling in. All right, so let's see what it does overnight into tomorrow. So it's going to keep on piling on through 3 o'clock, 6, 9, midnight. All right. So again, we subtract the 2. So that's 4. That's 4 more inches of snow overnight into the day tomorrow. Earlier, I looked at models and I had guessed 3 is what we would see as a good average. So this is only 1 inch higher than that. here. So it sticks with the rest of the forecast from 4 to 6 overall, and then 6 to 8 just north and east on northeast Oklahoma. So how about that? When the push comes to shove and it's literally the storm is already half over, the model gets it right. We'll see. It still has to happen. I will show you this though. I'll show you what's going on down into Dallas. Let's do that. Let's see here. We're going to have to go. Let me see. All right, so Dallas, when I measure this up through midnight, they've got at least, on the short-term model, at least half an inch of ice, pure ice, freezing rain. And then about 2 in the morning, tries to change it over to sleet and drops another half inch of sleet. So that would help to save them a little bit from the ice accumulations. But a half inch and a half inch is still an inch of total of ice accumulations. And there's a ton of lift down here. This is where you might get some of that thunder, sleet action or thunder, freezing rain. That's where that might be possible. Otherwise, they'll eventually get a little bit of snow wrapping up on the back side of that. But yeah, so that was what was going there in Dallas. Let's see, Tulsa, for example. Just all snow from this point forward for you, and should be the same here for Oklahoma City. Just look at that again, and all snow there. So, but just general overall lift for the whole system until it all wraps up. So, if I were to do this one, let's see here. So the NAM, again, I don't like to use the NAM for snowfall forecasts typically, but it just goes to show you that other than that little tiny batch of dry air that did move in early to mid-morning, it quickly gets saturated with more lift and more moisture as the whole system comes overhead, and that produces more snow. So the NAM likes to say another, gosh, if we were to take here from 2 to 6, that's 4 inches of snow, in additional snow from what we already have currently. So there you go. Again, that's pretty much like anything else. So they're all pretty much agree at this point in time. So it's one of those easy calls, nothing new to add. So that is it. If you're extremely late, bottom line is we got more snow here for tonight. With the exception of southeastern Oklahoma, where they're going to continue with the freezing rain and sleet mix. So the ice storm continues down there. Half inch or more of ice causing power outage problems. I don't expect much power outages issues, at least weather related, for like ice accumulations at all here in central northeast Oklahoma. It'd be just for other reasons. And then down in North Texas, just a nightmare mess that stretches into central Texas overnight to tomorrow morning for more ice accumulations for those folks. So power outages down there, and then Arkansas just slammed as well with ice, so big mess in Arkansas, central and east especially. Let's see, snow accumulations from this point forward, about 3 inches additional snow overnight here for the metro in Oklahoma City. A little higher than that, probably on the east side of town and south side of town. She'll be closer to the thicker band of what's moving by. And then that will extend to Tulsa, where you guys will probably end up with another probably 5 inches overnight to 6 on top of what you already have. So you should get a little bit more snow than we do here. So you're in that 6 to 8 category on an average, whereas we're in the 4 to 6 total average. Somebody, of course, will always get a little more, but it's going to be hard to measure because of the drifts, the winds up around 30, just drifting it everywhere. So it's going to be hard to get a really good measurement, but ballpark figure. So wind chill values around 0 or so, and temperatures in the teens for tomorrow, and then 20s on Friday. Road conditions, check my website, aarontuttle.weather.com. It'll have the pictures, the video, the live. You can check them all out. And I do expect conditions to improve slowly on the roads for Friday, with ground temperatures kind of working underneath, some solar radiation, people still getting out and about. So Friday afternoon, if you must get out, I think that's the best time to do so. And then really, if you can wait till Saturday, just don't do it Saturday morning, because there'll be black ice everywhere, and you'll just end up in a ditch. So let that Give that some time to breathe. And then Saturday from like lunchtime maybe to the afternoon, knock yourself out, just be careful. And then Sunday we should be no problem. So that's it for this winter storm. It's been fun talking about it since last Wednesday. You don't get these setups that often, but when they do, it's a classic setup, so it's an easy call to make. Then you just have to kind of get into the fine details of where the fine line of the transition of sleet, freezing rain, and snow is going to be, and that is definitely a challenge. And that's very hard to do too far out. As we get closer to it, we can start to fine-tune it, but even then, I'm not so sure you're ever going to get it perfect, but you will get in the ballpark. And on a winter storm, it's about the best you can hope for. If you're going to do some traveling out of Oklahoma, don't ask me if the airports are going to be open or if it's going to be delays, because I'm pretty sure I'm sure there's going to be delays, let's put it that way. But if you do get out, good luck. And then if you're heading toward the Northeast through the Midwest, you're going to chase the storm, so it's a nightmare. Best just to go to sunny Florida or something like that. And then really that's about it. All right, well, I don't think I have anything more to give you guys tonight. You have everything you need. Enjoy the snow. Take lots of pictures, do some measurements, make lots of snowmen, eat some snow ice cream, and enjoy it. This is an Oklahoma winter storm with a lot of measurable snow for many of us, and it's actually going to stick around for a couple of days. How about that? It'll probably actually stick around to the weekend before it really starts to melt, in many areas on the grass and stuff. So it's going to be around a while, which is nice for a change. And that's it for me. We'll talk again soon. Guys, be careful, sleep well, stay warm. Bye-bye.